Cloak and Dagger, Season 2, Episode 8 Thoughts. This episode is called Two Player. Another episode I love. Spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including this episode. The episode is rated TV 14. So will this video be? Let's dive right in. So I think I will start with the couple that there's not an awful lot to say about for this episode. So let's see. Father Delgado and Adina go together quite well in this episode. Yeah, I quite appreciated her, like, talking him into it by basically, reminding him why he did get into this, in the first place. And, yeah, he tells her why he had to, why he's so distraught. He killed a girl, didn't like it, and her confession, like, holy crap, like, it is, yeah, the setup and payoff, they've been building towards it. Yeah, she has wanted to kill Connors for a long time. She got the chance, she got the file, so yeah. And yeah, I appreciate, she wasn't looking to do it. She just needed, she says, I just needed a priest, but that was for the evidence, but yeah, she was willing to confess to it, which I also appreciate that they made, they made a reason for that, because I don't think that's something she's going to be very eager to talk about. And I think it is accurate that it's only if you confess that the information is, you can't just hand something to a priest and then not, I think that is accurate. And let's see, yeah, the thing, all he wanted was forgiveness. She acknowledges that, she could have, like, there's no, she could have lied to the priest. How would he find out? She could have said he came to kill us or something, but no, she admits, he just wanted forgiveness. But that's, yeah. And the thing with, she put all the plastic there so it's easier to clean up, and then tells him to go and turn on the lights so that there's distance between them, so he won't have any chance of dodging the bullet and going for the gun, anything like that. And I appreciate that we do briefly see his reaction, because he realizes, he knows, crooked cop, he knows what this is. He's not like, huh, do you have a dog, little Chow? And yeah, I don't know, I think it's more powerful that we don't see, because it's not like this show doesn't show any violence. The fact that we don't see, we see her raise the gun, and then we hear the gunshots. Yeah, I don't know, it hit, I think. And yeah, I think that is all there's for them. Not a lot with Bridget and Mayhem either, so I'll cover them next, and then we'll get into the meat of it. Yeah, I, like Mayhem, did think that Bridget was there to kill Mayhem, or, subdue her in some way. And by the end of the episode, Mayhem is back in Bridget's body, in the driver's seat. She's an agent of Mayhem now. And I don't know if I think they may have, like, gone a little bit too hard on making Bridget, like, super naive. I get it. It's to make contrast between her and Mayhem, but the fact that she's just, like, standing there, not even menacingly, she's just standing there, and it's like, that's the bad guy, though. Like, you want to hide, maybe? And the thing with, all these girls' names. Which, I mean, maybe they just really liked having Mayhem say the line, I thought you were a detective. Because, yeah, really, like, how do you not recognize them? Like, that's, yeah. Or maybe not recognize, but deduce, that, what else would it be? she thinks that those are just regular records, and he's just really, really into female performers. Anyway, I really appreciated the bit where, so yeah, Tandy gets past, and then, Bridget also has to hand something over. I don't know, spearmint gum, is that anything? Just, yeah. Which apparently Papa Legba's super into, so that's nice. It's great when you get, like, I guess it's possible that Papa Legba just is super into the flavor of spearmint or something, but no, like, it's great that you can be that happy about, I mean, it barely qualifies as candy. It's mostly like something to masticate on for a while, and then, stuff under a table at a high school or something. But yeah, the right. Also, yeah, just so I don't forget, I really like the effect that they look through the thing, and then there's just a cut to them standing at the place that's, what's the word? The let's just go with the meta place. Instead of like some kind of special effect or something, because that would just feel like, again, it's not like the show never does special effects, but it's just not really needed here. And yeah, she talks to Mayhem, and I quite like, there's a shot where the camera pans, like, I don't know, maybe 90 degrees, goes from, and at one point, like, the head of one of them is pretty much taking up the entire frame. It's a very, it's a somewhat daring shot. It's the kind of thing where you risk the audience being, like, really annoyed at not being able to see that much. But yeah, it works, I think. And let's see. Yeah, I again, I gotta praise. I don't know if I'm going to be pronouncing this right, but apparently her name is Emma Lahana. Just phenomenal. She really makes Mayhem and Bridget completely distinct from each other. They do also have, like, differences in makeup and clothing and such, which I do appreciate. It's a good way to further distinguish, and a lot of actors will tell you every little bit helps get into character. There, I forget who, but there was at least one actor who, like, put on the villain costume, and they were like, okay, I'm into it. I'm gonna play the villain to the hilt. It yeah, really aids the performance. But yeah, like, just look at her face, just her eyes. The like, Bridget is almost like this deer in headlights, scared puppy, like, by comparison to Mayhem, who really is just fire and fury. And yeah, the we see the two perspectives. This thing of, like, their dad making corny jokes, which, again, I gotta remind you, that is in the rule book. It's the law. You once you become a dad, you have to become a dad joker. Not a dad who is also a joker, but anyway. Yeah, the yes, so the bit with, dad only took us here so he could flirt with the bookstore, and Bridget points out, the house reminded him of mom. He was one parent taking care of 4 kids and a partridge in a pear tree. He deserved some happiness, even if that was all he could get. And yeah, this point made that, Mayhem only ever sees the bad. She is incapable of perceiving something positive. And yeah, the bit with the way that the manicure is used as a visual metaphor. You know, the because there is something somewhat vulnerable to, you know, it's, as we see in the scene, it's very easy to hurt someone else. Not like in a really bad, not like injure them, but it hurts. You know, there's some very sensitive skin there. You know, it's very easy to hurt someone that you're performing a manicure on, and both of them, you know, let the other do some manicure, you know, yeah, filing of nails, and both of them choose to hurt the other, to you know, point out you're wrong about this, you know. And let's see, what was the other thing that I wanted to say about that? Yeah, the thing of, you know, you know, what color's that poison? No, literally, that's, you know, that's my brand, you know. And she picks her poison, puts it on the, you know, right in front of, presents her nails. And it's like, you know, you're in the driver's seat now, and you're the man now, dog. And the camera pans around, and we see she's painting her own nails. She is, you know, 100%, yeah, now. And I'm not convinced how much Bridget is going to be allowed back in the driver's seat. It does not look like it from this. And I do appreciate that Tandy immediately claps. Okay, this is mayhem. Like, you know, the thing, you know, oh, he's running. Oh, I like them running. I like them scared. Like, it would be so annoying if Tandy was like, huh, Bridget got more confident. That's an interesting, you know. No, she's just like, so, mayhem. Back again, huh? You know, just, yeah, I'll tell a friend. And yeah, you know, she lights a fire there at the end. Very, you know, good visual metaphor again. Very destructive action. And on the one hand, you know, I don't personally think that, you know, anybody should be rich. Certainly not while there are other people who, you know, really struggle to make ends meet. On the other, I do kind of hope that whoever invented the Zippo lighter, crap, do y'all not call it that? Is that, I can never remember but the lighter she uses there at the end. I kind of think the person who invented that should get, like, residuals every time that makes a badass appearance in a movie or TV show, because it just is, like, it's perfect for this sort of thing. Like, I'm not saying a match can also make an impact, but just, and you know, obviously the kind of lighter that you have to hold down for the flame to, you know, that wouldn't work at all for this, unless you, like, get some tape, and that would make it slightly less cool looking. But yeah, just, I will never tire of seeing, you know, someone, yeah, Zippo lighter and then do a, yeah. Yes, so I guess there's not an awful lot. Yeah, I'll just, okay, so briefly, let's see, who else is left? Yeah, Andre, you know, ruthless as ever, and by the end he's figured out the Vevey, so that's bad news. And yeah, you know, he kills Leah to make it, you know, that really, he truly is ruthless. There is no one he won't sacrifice, you know, despite all she's done to help him. And we again have a case of, with Leah, the show does not use male gaze very often, and a bunch of the time, I guess, let's see, by now it's maybe about half the time, it's to make a point. And yeah, you know, with you know, Leah intentionally distracts. You know, it reminds me of a certain part in Training Day, for example. You know, the camera is somewhat leering her, but it's to get across, yeah, this driver was leering at her, and yeah, lowers his guard, and the what's the word? Yeah, now the zapping with the stun gun is done by Andre, not Leah. And yeah, you know, he says, you know, I gotta do it again. She's like, I can't do it, not again. It's not often that we see her stand up to one of her abusers. And then he says, and I believe this is a direct quote, last time I promise, which I guess, yeah, technically, there at the end, yeah, that really was the last time. But yeah, that is like a direct quote from the manual on how to be an abuser, which I think Andre may have written that. And yeah, I think that does cover everything with okay, so there's, yeah, obviously the really major one is Tandy. There's also definitely some stuff to say about Ty. You know what, I think I'll just briefly cover yeah, I said most of what I have about Legba, but yeah, you know, the thing about, you know, you didn't come here for Ty, did you? You have another thing in mind. And, you know, the thing about, you know, you're not really Fuchs, are you? No. It was nice seeing you, which, I mean, okay. I mean, he's bloodied. He looks exactly the way he was when you found him dead, but okay, to each their own. It's I guess, yeah. Um, I think that's everything for Legba. Baron Samdi. I haven't seen very many other representations of Baron Samdi. I really love the appearance that Baron Samdi makes in Nocturne. You know, Forgotten, Diamond in the Rough. I can't completely claim that it's an amazing game. There's definitely some issues with it. Nothing that GOG couldn't fix. Here's hoping. I really want to play that again. Like I'm worried that my, you know, it wouldn't run that well today because of, you know, being 25 years old. Anyway, but yeah, I wasn't 100% sure. I tried to do a little bit of research. I couldn't quite find, you know, certainly certain aspects here are, you know, creative license rather. You know, the gaming arcade, you know, the idea of this character precedes gaming arcades, but you know, Baron Samedi is described as being flamboyant, so that does fit, and that was also, there's definitely some flamboyance to the character in Nocturne. They're slightly more effeminate here than in that, but that might say more about, you know, standards changing. I can imagine when, you know, the developers of that game were maybe worried that if they made him effeminate, because effeminate, you know, qualities do go with flamboyance. Not always, but they certainly can. Where here, yeah, I mean, I don't know enough for sure, but I can imagine. Ah, crap! Did I just call them he? I should probably be using they them pronouns. I've been trying to, because I'm not 100% certain if they are technically supposed to be male or if they're beyond gender. And certainly, yeah, it would go with, you know, yeah, fairly male presentation, but somewhat effeminate, you know, if they are indeed beyond gender, which again is just a theory. And let's see, yeah, I really enjoyed Samdi's characterization here, which again, I think there's at least a decent amount of accuracy to how they're perceived outside of this. The fact that, you know, yeah, this kind of toying with them and, you know, yeah, being like, no, yeah, you can, you know, if you want, you can try to get Ty out of here. I'll let you both leave. You know, that just the that was, you know, I don't know with certainty if that was something that Tandy had fully thought about, that no, like if you go there, somebody can keep you both. There's nothing. You're not just risking. It's not just whether or not you'll get Tai back. You might not be able to return, and somebody. It's this thing of like, because somebody technically is being fairly giving there, saying, no, I'll let you both go. You don't even. I'm not going to ask either one of you to stay to let the other one leave, but it's also like underlining. Yeah, they even follow up by saying, you are in somebody's realm now, just, yeah. And, yeah, they're at the end where, oh, it's too late. While the boy was trying to make the decision, it was made for him. I really appreciate that somebody waits as long as they can before just coming out and saying, no, you're safe. You can both go back to being alive now, just because that could have been their first word, like they could have immediately said, oh, you were saved, you can both go back, but no, you were too slow, the decision was made for you. Just like, wow. Yeah. Is it terrible to watch, like, not in real life, but just like, well, I've seen it in other, I guess what I'll say is I also enjoy that when it's in media, fictional media, when it's like a doctor, coming out and being like, well, that's, yeah, I have to tell you, your loved one, I mean, we did everything we could, and it worked. They're alive and well. You can go see them right now. Just the couple of seconds where you're like, oh no, because I really thought like, oh, it did not work, because we did see Evita, and that segues nicely into, yeah, at first she doesn't know what's going on with Auntie, and she sees her fate in the bones. She sees her appear before her, struggles to accept it, but does eventually. And there at the end, we see the body being taken to the coroner, and she won't take Ty's hand because she is now married, to let's see if I understand correctly, to somebody. And let's see. Right, I really appreciate that, she doesn't know everything her auntie, she had to, all the knowledge her auntie had to impart because she hasn't seen everything, but she makes do with what she has, and it works, And it's one of those things, like, it is very typical Hollywood cliche of, like, oh, can they save them in time? And then something else happens that resolves it. Just, yeah. But to be clear, I'm not saying it was unsatisfying. I quite appreciate the tragedy of it. It really did seem like Ty was going to make the right choice, and Evita now the two of them can't be together. Evita more badly wanted him to be alive than for them to be able to be together. And I think that might about cover Evita. Yeah, I love how the show is, has this thing of like, yeah, women under, not every single individual one, but it's not true of every single individual man either. But there are a lot of women, throughout history and today, who, when the chips are down, will really come through. She's not panicking. She's not messing up. She does, she focuses and does the, she said in an earlier episode that Ty's breathing sucks. Her breathing doesn't. She has that focus. And that reminds me of the part where she was like, her dream, as seen by Tandy in an earlier episode, was to marry Ty, and now that won't happen. That was the part where she fought. That was so badass. Like, I still, holy crap, Tandy's about to take her hopes and dreams away, like she has been, in other parts of that episode. And, Evita just turns and goes, no, just so badass. Just, yeah. Yeah. Uh, there's not an awful lot for Ty. I'll talk Ty, and then I'll talk Tandy. Yes. I was trying to think of more alliteration, but, yes, moving on. So yeah. Ty is playing a video game in Samdi's realm, which, like, Tandy, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get, like, getting a teenage boy to stop playing a video game, like, yeah, I mean, literally, he knows it'll kill him, and he's still doing it, so that's, yeah, very, very accurate yeah. Yeah, and he keeps stressing, in here we can win. He's tired of fighting and losing out in the real world, which actually, yeah, just briefly, thematically appropriate. We have the thing about, these, they won't shut this place down. It's called the oldest profession for a reason, and the guy calls them, I won't use exactly the word, but he refers to them as sex workers, and Bridget says they're victims, and he's like, yeah, sure they are, just no real empathy there. And we also find out, oh yeah, Andre walked in just no time, lawyer got rid of him, there was, what was in it, less than an hour before he was a free man, And let's see, I think that does cover that. So yeah. Yeah, I really, I think I'll stay, No, yeah, I'll just briefly say, I really appreciate that we did get Ty back by the end of the episode. Now that he is 100% alive again, there's only 2 episodes left. I don't know how much they're going to be able to do to explore Tandy's trauma from forced sex work participation, but I guess it's possible they would have saved it for a season 3. That was the idea, to have enough time to properly explore. It is possible they're going to do a great job in the last 2 episodes. I think that might just about bring us to, let's see. Yeah. I suppose that does bring us to Tandy, since the last stuff with Ty is when the titular duo are together. So yeah, let's see. Tandy, yeah, very, very tense as they're they're in the church. I will say I didn't think that it was necessarily the most. I guess they had to get away from there, and it had to be quick, since the cops were not going to be that far behind with all the commotion. Yeah, I gotta say, when we saw that he teleported back, I did think, I mean, that's kind of like, crying when you're standing in your already flooded house. That's not helping. But let's see. Yeah, she points out, gotta go in there and, take a leap of faith, I guess. That really was, yeah, 2019, the year of Marvel. Well, I suppose not only Marvel, but superheroes taking a leap of faith to yeah. But the, yeah, she yeah, reaches out to Papa Legba. Want some candy? And I was a little surprised that the person there was a different. I quite appreciate Tandy pointing that out. Oh, so you can just take any form, huh? And the thing, before she was calling Legba Papa Mystery, now it's Papa Sweet Tooth. Just, yeah. And I think that does bring us nicely to the arcade, which I do also appreciate. She was like, that's not how it used to be, you know, which underlines, yeah, this is not the same place. You know, the before she was in Despair's realm, which is also where Bridget ends up because she's going for Mayhem. And, you know, yeah, Baron Samedi's realm, since he deals with the dead. Yeah, and it is this thing of like, you know, you have a chance kind of thing, if I understand correctly, with the arcade and how Samedi, again, I wasn't able to do an awful lot of research. Wrist still not ideal. Now, what is that? Yeah, I've talked about Samedi, so that, yeah, that brings us to the video game, and this thing of like, yeah, you know, Tai is like, if you know, or actually, was it Tai or was it Samedi? One of them is like, you know, play together, and that'll do the, you know, hence the title 2-player. And does that mean that when Tai first showed up and started playing by himself, Samedi dubbed him Tyrone Solo? And let's see, yeah, that is again very, very accurate to, you know, as a gamer myself, bit of a gamer, not one of the toxic ones, but yeah, can confirm. You know, if you ask us to stop playing and it's a potential 2-player game, we might be like, oh, come on, you can. If you play, if we play together a little bit, I'll stop. You know, but yeah. Because there just is something about, you know, co-op and multiplayer and stuff that you don't get in single player. Now, the video game is just the most perfect metaphor because, yeah, it is, you know, not every single game. There are complex games by now. But yeah, a lot of, you know, the type that is being played here, the type you'll find in an arcade, are very simple. It's just good and evil, no gray area, like Tai points out. And it is this thing of like, it would have been too meta to the point of being distracting if they sat down to read a comic book together or something. And it's a way to have some action scenes and such. And, you know, the fact that it is like something that they have to make effort, you know, to accomplish. What they describe could apply to a lot, not all, not saying all, a lot of comic books, and certainly from, you know, let's say, I saw that Cloak and Dagger, you know, there's stories about them in like the 1980s. Actually, come to think of it, that might not be the 60s, certainly. 1960s, a lot of stories where it's just good and evil. You know, you find the right face to punch, you really sock it, and then you move on. You know, maybe the villain will come back, sure. But there's not going to be, like, red tape in the way, you know. And this is another episode of the show that confronts, you know, this idea of vigilantism, because, you know, Bridget does think that Mayhem is right for this situation, which she didn't exactly always. And I think that, yeah, I will say when they first started with the arcade machine, I was slightly worried that we were just going to get a bunch of, like, let's see, is that 16-bit, I want to say, graphic stuff, but thankfully they do, you know, they intercut, and it's a way to cut down on exactly how much time and thus money has to be spent on filming, you know, choreographing and filming, yeah, the live action fight scenes by having some of them be in the, you know, although it's not nothing to animate, which I think it means that it is something, since, you know, double negative cancel each other out. But yeah, that was, yeah, really, really nicely done. And like the thing with, you know, oh, radioactive heroin, that is like somewhat similar to the comic. So that's, yeah. And they even, you know, Tandy's like, really? So that's a nice little nod to, you know, because I did see there were reviews of the user reviews, at least, of the show, where there was a non-zero number of user reviews where someone was just like, where's the, you know, one person that praised the adaptation making some changes pointed out, you know, in the comic they basically fight super crack, and then this other person is like, where's the super crack? This is not an adaptation, you know, fake, you know, this doesn't work. And it's like, do you maybe want to think about, do you really think it hits the same to, like, in the 1980s there was a lot of, you know, war on drugs propaganda. Look it up. The war on drugs was never about helping people. By 2019, it's like, come on, man. No, just, it's not, you know, I've praised it before. I'll praise it again. The fact that this show confronts companies, you know, not being careful enough and thus getting people hurt, so much more relevant than this. Like, we get it. We know the drugs are a problem. No one's saying that drugs are, like, never a bad thing. We all know. We don't need to be told. We need to deal with, you know, there's, yeah, I've made my point. Yes, so yeah, and once she's in, you know, once they have like live action stuff, and I really appreciate also the, you know, the costume of, you know, the game, and yeah, once they're in a live action version of the game, she like knows, oh, the costume's the same, and it is this, like, it's a very stereotypical version of what she wears. I can imagine, and at least some of the comics, she maybe wears that as well, and that's, again, they're pointing out, would you really wear that in real life, you know? It's a neat backstory that she's a ballerina, but, you know, ballerinas don't go around, you know, yeah, people are not their hobbies and jobs. They're not walking around wearing that, you know, 25/8 or something. But the, yeah, once she's in there, she becomes one of those, like, have you ever been, like, enjoying a video game and someone who doesn't like video games walks up behind you and then starts being like Tandy here and just criticizing video game logic? Like, it is really annoying. You know, just a real troll when it comes to video game logic. You know, yeah, you can poke a lot of holes in it. Sometimes I enjoy doing that as well, but, you know, during the actual experiment, no, it was a lot of fun. You know, her snarkasm is a powerful weapon indeed. And, you know, at the point she makes, you know, they're all dressed the same, and, you know, they just keep coming, and all this stuff, just, yeah. And, let's see, yeah. Appreciate that she does get really uncomfortable once they're in the motel, and, you know, she nopes out, you know, and yeah, she, you know, she says this is not, we can't win here either. This is not permanent. Like, you know, it's not real. I think it's also in part that she's not ready yet to confront, you know, the pain of that. And I can imagine, I don't know if they're intending to do this, but I wouldn't rule out that she might hesitate when facing Andre as well in real life, in the show's real life anyway. And you know, he's like, oh, but we were so close to beating it, now we have to start all over. I don't know if I want to feel seen or attacked as a gamer, because that's 100%, yeah. Let's see. I think that does pretty much cover all of, yeah, just fantastic episode. They're doing such a good job with these visual metaphors, and yeah. So there is a little bit in the IMDb trivia. Oh, right. But yeah, actually, before I get into that, so Tandy says, you know, I've never been a gamer, but maybe I missed my calling. Nobody put it in the IMDb trivia, but I don't know if it was the case when she was when she was filming this episode, and or as even possible they didn't even think about it when writing the script or something. But the in real life, at least for some time, she was a gamer. The actress, I mean, hold on, I saw the it's in her IMDb. Let's see. So the I know I have it. I saw it around here somewhere. I'll find it real quick. So the okay, I'm gonna try to fill the dead air until there we go. Okay, so yeah, there's a quote in her biography on IMDb. I'm gonna read it verbatim. I'm a huge Call of Duty fan, Minecraft, and all those kinds of video games. I'm constantly playing video games every day. So, yeah, it's amusing to have. I mean, I suppose she didn't say she played, you know, side-scrolling beat 'em ups, so I guess it's possible that that's where that, you know. But yeah, that was because, like, you know, if you know Call of Duty, that's not like, you know, it's not casual exactly, you know. So yeah. Right. IMDb trivia for the episode. Let's see. Yeah. This episode ties the series closer to the comics than any other thus far. The Tyrone figurine in the arcade looking as he does in the comics, wherein he became more of a living shadow, as shown at the beginning of the episode, but contained by a hooded cloak, dark blue with black stripes, like Billy's unfinished one from Season 1. And then there's the thing about yeah, it wasn't radioactive heroin, it was modified heroin that unlocked their powers, and they were both runaways in the 80s comics. So yeah, I'm really glad that I am not going to have to wait long. Let's see, I expect to do the next episode Thursday, and probably gonna finish the show within this week. So yeah, I know I keep saying this, but they're doing such a good job building to the finale. I am really, really excited to see, you know, how's it going to end.